Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So it's the first Saturday in a brand new month, which means it's time for a brand new mission inspiration over on our Facebook group. But because it's October, there are going to be two versions this month. First version, which is our Halloween version, and the second version, which will be a non-Halloween version for those people who don't like to participate. So as you can see, it's also going to be day one of my 7 days of Halloween. Yay! So the theme for October, or version 1, is the graveyard shift. And you can see the colours that we have for this month are grave grey, slimy lime, lime, slimy lime, put my teeth back in again now, and midnight black. And as you can see over here, we have our ingredients in no particular order, which are sand or grit, fibres, making marks, rips and tears, and finally wood. So there you go. There are our prompts for the month. Once again, I will be using my triangle journal to create my art journal page for version 1. So let me grab my book and we'll get started. Okay, so I've put my skin back on. Right, so I've got my journal. So this is the triangle journal open, obviously at the next page. So to begin with then, so as we've already seen the prompt, we're going to make a start. So what I want to do is I want to create, Mr. Bentley. Yes, thank you. Oh, he wants put into bed. Bear with me a second, be right back. Right, sorry about that, he didn't want to be put to bed, he wanted to play. So, just had a quick play. Right, where was I? Okay, the prompt for October. So, we're going to start off with a basic background. I've got some bits and pieces scattered around me, as you can already see. So I've gathered bits together to do this art journal page. I'm going to make a start on just doing a spritzed kind of, excuse me, should have brought a drink up with me. I've got a throat like a cemetery gravel path, he says. Right, let's make a start. I've got some colours, so I'm going to spritz. This is the pigment powders that I made up myself, so they're just pigment powders added with distilled water or deionised water to stop it from smelling, which it does do. And I'm just going to create that a mottled green kind of background, just using the lime green colour or the slimy lime. And we'll just allow that to sit in the background. I'll need to do a couple of coats of this. I've got a dry baby wipe, so it's not a wet wipe because it's dry. So it's just a dry wipe, if you like. I'm going to just pick up some of that colour that's just sitting in the crease of the journal. First coat, quick dry, and then I'll be back. Okay, so there's the basic kind of background. Looks kind of mouldy, doesn't it? Yeah. Right, so the next thing we're going to do, so we're going to move over now into our list of ingredients to the rips and the tears. So what I'm going to do is I've got two pieces of dictionary page, old dictionary page, and I have removed the page which has the word grave on it. Grave, and even gravel. And I've also removed the one that has the word cemetery. A place for burials, not being a churchyard. So, but also etymology, just in case you're interested, or entomology. Can't remember which way. Is it etymology or entomology? One's the study of butterflies and moths, and the other are insects, and the other one's about words. Anyway, I can never remember which one it is. So the origin of the word is from the Greek to put to sleep or to lay to rest. There you go, cemetery. Right, so rips and tears. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip the word cemetery, like so, just going to tear a little bit off there. And I've got a glue stick, and I'm going to just dry glue stick this down. I'm not going to use wet glue because, have a look at that, rips and tears. Because if I put wet glue down, I'm liable to disturb the background. But you're not going to be able to see a lot of it anyway, because it won't be covered up. There's a lot of layers, or a few layers if you like, in this one. So that's symmetry. So let's pull out some bits of the grave. So we'll have a piece there, so that's grave as well. So this was a dictionary that I picked up from a thrift shop. We call them charity shops here in the UK, and it was missing its cover, and it was like ridiculously cheap. So I thought, well, that'll be perfect just for using on projects. And I know I just went directly onto the page, and I shouldn't have done really, but hey, head not quite in the game today. Right. So I have another piece up there, just as background pieces, just for some texture. I'll do one more piece, and then we'll add some more colour again to that background, like so. Actually, let's just add one more bit, just one more bit. Only because we can. Just add that up there. Okay, so because it's a dry glue stick, we should be okay to just go back over again and blend that into the background using our slimy lime. Okay, so that's that little layer. So that's the rips and the tears it dealt with. So the next thing I want to do is to add some fibres. So this is one of those kind of Halloween-y net things that you can get to simulate cobwebs and things on Halloween. So I want a piece of, or I want two pieces of that, and they're going to go in the background also. So let's just snip through one of those. It's not the easiest things to cut, particularly when you've got glue or sticky stuff on your scissors. There we go. So we'll see if we can open that back up again. So that's going to go there, and this piece is going to go here. Like I said, we're going to layer up. So that's going to go there, that's going to go there. So that's going to be our fibres. So for this, again, I'm going to use the dry glue, because we will be putting something else over the top which will hold it in position. So I'm just going to rub that over the top and just push that down. Oops. And this is one of those glue sticks that it's purple when it goes on, but when it's dry it disappears. There we go, so just a bit there. I'm trying to avoid using lots of kind of wet glues on this page. I don't particularly want it to buckle. So I'm saving the wet glue, if you like, for when I know I'm definitely going to need it the most. Okay, so that's A bit more there, I think. Yeah. Right. Alrighty then. So while that's there, I'm also now going to go over again with that layer of green, but also I'm going to bring in some of the sandstone, so a little bit of brown, just to add a little bit of dirt into the background. Okay, let's get that dried. Okay, so that are the fibres. That are the fibres. That was really good English, that, wasn't it? Okay, so let's just grab a pen. So we've got slimy lime, we've got fibres, and we've got rips and tears. Theoretically, because we've got the black text also in the book text, we've also kind of got a little bit of the midnight black in there too. Still got some more to go. Now then, we need to do the main focal point now. So for this, because it's the graveyard shift, because it says so there, I've gone into my Halloween collection and I've pulled out some graves. Obviously, graveyard shift graves, it stands to reason, doesn't it? So what I want to do is I just want to, and I've cut them out. So I've just printed a set off and I've cut them out. And I'm going to go around the edges with some ink. It says, I didn't realise I'd put that away. What we're going to use, well, we might as well use a vintage photo. I could bring out maybe twisted citron and go around in the green. I don't really think that was necessary. So let's just grunge up and dirty these up a little bit more, weather them a little bit. So I've got 4 to do, so I shall go around grunging, dirtying those, getting rid of those raw white edges, and then I'll be back. Okay, so that is the distressing. So I'll have one of those up there and one of those up there, because obviously this is the graveyard shift, and we'll have one of those there and one of those there. But just to make it a little bit more authentic, I just want to add just a couple of mouldy drops on each one. Get those dried off and then I'll be back. Okay, so I forgot to mention, when I printed these out, I printed them out in grayscale. So you can't get much more grey than gravestones, can you, really, in grayscale? Right, so I've got those. Just need to clear up the overspill from my sprays. There we go, just so that I don't get my elbow in them. Just have a wee tiny clean up. Okay, that should do us. I've thrown one of the grey stones on the floor now. There we go, we've got it. Right, so now, what did we say? We'd have those two like that, and these two. Now let's have those like that, tucked under there, like that. So, now I want the wet glue. I'm going to use spirit glue. So I'll have that one on first. Ooh, it's all dribbling out, look. It's all oozing out like slime. So that can go on there like that. Oh, look at it, it's just dribbling. I really like wet glue, but this particular spirit glue, but it doesn't want to stay in the tube. So this one next, let's see if we can swipe some of that up. Okay, so that's the first one up there. I'm not too bothered about the bottom bit because that will get stuck down with the one on top. Make sure I get plenty of glue on, and then down at the bottom. Okay, lid on. It's good glue, but it's messy. There we go, just get rid of that. Come off quicker if I just rubbed alcohol on the mat, but there we go. Okay, so get that stuck down there towards the bottom, and then push. Just put a little bit of weight on it just to hold it down. So I could clamp with my tweezers. We've got a little pair in here, and I know people said they were interested in purchasing these tweezers, so as soon as I can get back to the store that sells them, I will definitely get some. Okay, so that will just hold that for the time being. So I'll let those set. Need to put something heavy on there, don't I? Heavy-ish, anyway. So I'll let those set, and then I'll be back in a minute or two. Okay, so they're nearly dry now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get ready for the next step. So we have on the list, I did have a pen, didn't I? So, Grave Grey. So we've got graves and grey on there. So the next bit is going to be the sand or the grit, and also Grave Grey. So I've got some structure paste, which is gritty. It's a little bit gritty. There you go. So it's got bits of, well, I don't know what it is, but it's gravelly, gritty anyway. I've also got some Deco Art black paint, and I'm not being very eloquent today. I'm going to add a couple of drops just into the texture paste, and I'm going to mix it. And look, it's gone grey, which is cool because it's grave grey. But I don't want it that dark. I actually want it a little bit lighter, so I'm going to add some white paint to it just to lighten it up. And I've broken my spatula, look. Only me. Only I could do something so stupid on camera. There we go. I saw it coming though. The minute I started to bend it earlier. Right. So that's better. That's got that nice kind of grey colour. So what I'm also going to do, just while I can, is I'm just going to add a little bit of brown just to make it a warm grey. Like so. Right, and then I'm going to pick a little bit of that up, and I'm not particularly bothered if it's not mixed in properly. And I'm going to go around the bottom of the gravestone, just adding in that texture. I'll do the same on this one. Which is also helping to ground not only the fibres but also the gravestones in place. I'll do the same thing up here. Put a little bit of texture on that bottom now. And what I need to do is make sure I've got as much as I need, and then I'll just scrape a little bit over this way. There we go, that'll do. So I'll clean off my spatula, clean my work surface, get this dried, and then I'll be back. Okay, so that is nearly dry. The surface is touch dry. It's still a little bit warm, but it's touch dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an old ATM card, and for this bit, making marks, because we've done that sand and the grit bit, I'm going to create some lines just using some black paint. Put a little bit on my worktop, and then I'm just going to run the card through to pick up, and I'm going to create a kind of border just using mark making on the edge. Just creating a kind of border. It doesn't have to be exact, obviously. Bit of a grungy border. Around the page. See, if I was doing this on the computer, I'd pay a fortune for a grungy kind of overlay to create this kind of effect. But seeing as we're doing it in real life, that border, fabulous. Okay, so let's get cleaned up again. I think put that away, back in my mark making set. Just clean up the excess. But before we do, I want to just add a little bit more mark making into the mix, and this time, see, there's not enough white, so what I want to do is just grab a little bit of white, and I've got an old pen lid, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit of white paint. Just add a few kind of orby marks around the page, just to kind of break up that green. Doing it like this is just as effective as if I'd got the splatter brush out, because it's pretty much doing the same thing. It's just creating those kind of textures in the background that draw the eye and make you look. Your eye moves around the page. There we go, that'll do. So I'll just get one of them wet wipes, just clean that lid off as well. Get rid of that excess, because splatters and drips aren't on the list. I haven't done splatters or drips, but making marks certainly is. Okay, so just need to get that dry. So I'll do that. I'll put that to one side actually and let that dry naturally, and then bring in the last bit. So let me just move that out of the way. Okay, so we've done sand or grate fibres making marks, which we've done twice. We've now used all three colours, the grey, the black and the white, which is fantastic. So they're all done. So we're just left with this. Wood. What are we going to do with that? Well, obviously, I have an idea. I've got this. This is a bat shape, which is cut, laser cut from MDF, from one of my Halloween laser cut sets. Now, if you didn't know I did laser cut, yes I do. I'll put a link in the description area below if you're interested in any of the, well, I've got 2 Halloween sets actually, and they've got bats and skulls and spiders' webs and that kind of stuff in 3mm MDF. It's Medite, so it's CAB compliant, as ecologically friendly as you can get for MDF. Low formaldehyde formation. Anyway, black paint, here we go. So I need a brush. Brush. We'll just use a little one because we don't need a huge amount, because all I'm going to do is just paint my little bat with black, lamp black Deco Art Americana paint. And of course you don't have to paint it, you could dip it in your embossing powder, you know, put embossing ink on it and then dip it in and put embossing powder on there if you want to. I could do with something just to hold that down while I'm painting it. Here we go. Or colour in, use black marker, use Sharpie, use alcohol inks, or even just use your black soot distress ink marker if you've got one. So there's my piece of wood. Of course, if you wanted to, you could use popsicle sticks or create a fence or anything like that. Or even, if you wanted sand or grit, you could get some wood shavings, some pencil sharpenings, crumble them up and combine the two. Create your sand or grit using wood shavings from a pencil sharpener. There's no law in the Mission Inspiration instruction manual that says you cannot combine 2 prompts together. I know, because I wrote them. And that didn't take anything at all to dry. So again, you could use black gesso, you could use anything black. Anything. Mascara if you wanted to. Just go for it. Eyebrow pencil. Soot. There we go. So I've just second coat. Didn't take long. Let's dry it off again. Literally seconds to dry. Right, I'll just clean that and then we'll see whether or not my page has dried enough for me to add the last touch. And now I've got white paint all over my fingers. Okay, so where are we? There. So what I want to do is just add a little bit of glue to the back. I know I don't normally add a lot of dimension and texture to these pages because it is in a book, but today it's called for and there is a good reason for it. So I'm using that spirit glue and I'm just going to turn that over and I'm going to drop that down onto that page there, just to add that final kind of touch. So while that's drying, I'm also going to grab, is that the brush I use for the black? I think it is. So get a wet wipe. I don't really want to wash it out completely. I don't really need to. Oh, I got that out there. I want to darken this area down here, so I'm just going to go over it with that kind of brush that I've sort of dried, and it's acting like a bit of a dry brush because it's still got some black paint on it, and that's highlighted that texture a little, which is kind of pretty much, that wasn't dry there, look, I've now got grit. So that's darkened that down a little bit. Let's get that cleaned a little. Again, so I'll just need to get all this dry. Okay, so I've just put the heat gun back on that again, just to kind of dry that surface up a bit more. And I just want to add a bit more of the grunge. So I'm just going to pick up some of that colour and just kind of go over the grey with that dirty brown. Just to kind of help knock back that grey a little bit. And it will dry lighter. It will dry a lot lighter. But hopefully it will soak in to that texture paste. And I think just to finish off, because why not? I know it doesn't call for it, it says make marks, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's an addition, not a substitution. Oh, that's my excuse anyway. And that's the one I'm sticking to. There we go. Okay, so I'll need to get that dry and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm not really happy with how dark this is and here, so I do want to line it up just a tad. So I'm just going to grab a tiny little piece of white paint, and then I'm just going to grab a paintbrush, cleanish paintbrush, and then I'm just going to very gently just line it up. I know it's going to pick up some of the colour from the spritzes and that kind of thing, but that's fine as long as it just lightens up that ground. I don't mind. So again, let's dry that off. Just clear all that mess. And there we go. I think then that's everything. that's on the prompts for version 1 for October. Grave Grey, Slimy Lime, Midnight Black, Sand or Grit, Fibres, Making Marks, Rips and Tears and Wood. So we've ripped and torn that dictionary page behind. So I think I'm okay with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sign and date it now. But because I'm doing this in September and it's not October yet, because I have to pre-prepare, this is actually Monday the, is it the 13th today? I think it's the 13th of September. But because I have to pre-prepare all these videos, I have to do them so far in advance. So there you go. Hello from September, from the past. So that's that. But also what I want to do, just to finish off, is I just want to add a little bit of hand lettering. And I've got some pens here. Bold Mia. I think these were from a shop here in the UK called The Works. Different nib sizes again. So this one's a 0.1. And I'm hoping, I don't know for definite because it didn't say on the packaging, and somebody's breathing over my shoulder now. Can you remember whether these were water soluble or not, or whether they're solvent based?
I think, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Just have a look, have a smell.
You're talking to people in the future.
Oh, hi.
Because this is actually in October
Let's have a
now.
look. What are the lottery numbers, please?
What lottery numbers? Oh, I see. Ha ha ha.
I think they're water based.
Oh, so you can smell it. There's no solvent
Yeah, they're water
smell.
based. I've just drawn my hand and licked it off. I may die, but never mind.
Right, okay. Okay, that might not work. Oh, we'll give it a go. What the heck? What the heck? Let's just give it a go.
I've just come for some paint.
Have you? What are you nicking?
I'm painting that.
Oh,
Aging it.
okay. That's fine. That's for my 7th day.
Well,
Halloween.
I'll cast you another one.
That's just giving away the game, what we're doing.
I haven't said what it is.
No. He's stealing something idea Mac for one of my projects that I'm going to be doing later on in the series. Anyway, he's gone again now. Right, so we're just going to call this, and just like we did, is it going to write? Oh, look at that. How awful. This is what happens when you buy cheap. No! That's a brush tip. 0.3, oh that's far too thin. 3. Does that work? Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. The graveyard shift. Right, so I'm going to give that a second or two just to kind of dry, and then I'll go back in a bit more of a steadier hand, he says. Just thicken up some of the lines maybe. I said I was going to leave it to dry, didn't I? And look, I'm just can't let it lie. Yeah, I don't do hand lettering very often, but I have done on that one. Right, let's see if we can pick out some of the just a few highlights. It's not dry enough yet. I'll do that later. But anyway, there we go. So the graveyard shift. We've got the date. So day 1 for Mission Inspiration version 1 for October. I will be doing the non-Halloween version in October in a week or so. But I've got to get my 7 days of Halloween, which is a full week. Obviously 7 days. So, so hopefully I'll be able to get version 2, which is the non-Halloween version, done a little bit later. But in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed watching me do my Halloween version of the Mission Inspiration for October of the Graveyard Shift. So if you have, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very soon. Cue Vincent.